Hey guys, Whitney and Jared from Travel Therapy Mentor here. Instead of our weekly video, we're actually going to be doing an update on our trip and kind of a tour of our van that we've been staying in. So this is night 3 of traveling around the country and sleeping in the van. It's been pretty good so far, actually. We didn't really know what to expect. We were a little bit nervous. We thought maybe we'd be already giving up and sleeping in hotels and Airbnbs at this point, but actually it hasn't been so bad. So this is an 8-week road trip, and this is the third night. Still early on, so we're still running on a lot of, I guess, adrenaline and excitement. So we'll see how that goes as the trip progresses, but
yeah, so we are in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so we'll kind of tell you a little bit about our trip so far and just kind of where we've gone and where we're still going to be going, and then we'll give you a little tour of the van because we are traveling in a minivan. So far I guess I'll tell you kind of where we're going to be going. So we're going to be traveling for 8 weeks. Like Jared said, we started in Virginia and we went up through Ohio, Michigan, and then we're going to go across the northern states. Our main focus of this trip is to hit a lot of the national parks. So we'll go up through some of the northern states and then come down through the Pacific Northwest and go all the way down the West Coast, down through California, and then we'll go across Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, and then kind of back up to Virginia. We're cutting out a lot of the Southeast because, well, 1, we've been to some of the Southeast already. 2, it's not really a great time to go to Florida right now. And 3, it just gave us more time out west, which is not as easy for us to get to all the time. We've also already been through a lot of the middle of the country. A lot of people were like, oh, why are you skipping Colorado, Utah? Last year on our 2019 road trip, we went to those places. So this year we're kind of doing, I guess you could say, like a counterclockwise around the outskirts of the country. And we're skipping New England because we've also been to New England when we were on an assignment there.
Yep. So far we've been to one national park, which was Cuyahoga National Park in Ohio. I know that's one of the less popular, I guess, and definitely not as hyped up as some of the other ones. It was very pretty though. So we were going to go to the national park in Michigan, but they're not running ferries right now, so you'd have to take a plane in, which is extremely expensive. So we're going to skip that. We'll have to hit that at some other point. But the shoreline in Michigan and the lakes here are amazing. This is both of our first times ever being in Michigan or being to the Great Lakes, and it is awesome. If you haven't been, definitely a good place to check out.
Yeah, it's been really good. So far we went through Virginia, cut through West Virginia, went to the national park in Ohio, visited a fellow travel OT in Cleveland, and then we cut up through Michigan. We have a couple days set aside for kind of northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. Yesterday we went to Traverse City and the Sleepy Bear Dunes National Lakeshore area. That was really beautiful. We drove through Mackinac City, and now we're way up almost to Canada. I don't know how to say the town that we're in. It's like Grand Marais or something like that. It's up near Pictured Rocks, and we haven't quite made it to Pictured Rocks Lakeshore. That'll be tomorrow.
It's basically on the very tip of Michigan. We are pretty much as far as you can go north in the U.S. Lake Superior is probably like 100 yards behind the camera.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So the first few nights, just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about how things have been going with traveling with COVID, because that was a big concern. We had planned on kind of, in the camping world, they call it boondocking, where you just sort of dry camp or just stay in parking lots or stay at dry campsites. You don't use the electricity, the water, nothing like that. And if you can see behind us, we've made a bed out of our minivan. I'm going to give you guys a tour of the minivan. So we've just been kind of living off the grid, I guess you could say, but we did we got Planet Fitness memberships to be able to use the Planet Fitnesses all around the country to get showers and stuff. And we definitely anticipated that, we might have to go a day or 2 without showers here and there because it's camping and it's, a little bit rugged. I guess it's not all glamour, but I was definitely expecting to be able to shower a little bit more often than we have. So
yeah, unfortunately, the Planet Fitnesses that are in Ohio, we went to one there that was wonderful. It's a really nice place, but the showers are closed. So that's not ideal. And then we got into Michigan and we found out that pretty much all the gyms are still closed in Michigan for the foreseeable future. They have been for like the last 5 months. There might be a few that are open, but at least all the Planet Fitnesses are all closed. So yeah, no options there.
So that was a huge surprise. So we basically went like 3 days without showering, and I was feeling really irritable about that. So tonight we ended up at an actual campground that had shower facilities. So I was super thankful to be able to shower. Jared's plan was just to shower off in the Great Lakes, which we kind of did earlier. But to me, that wasn't really a shower. It was refreshing. The lake was very cold, to me, that wasn't really a shower. So I was really happy to actually be able to wash my hair and all that. And then now, through the next few states, I've actually called ahead to some of the Planet Fitnesses to find out if they're going to be open, and I think we're going to be good.
We should be good to go from now on. And also, in addition to staying in the van, we also have booked hotels every 5 to 6 nights at the most along the way, and also we're staying with friends and family, and so this is actually the longest stretch that we would be in the van consecutively. It was going to be 7 nights, I think, in the van. And then after this, it was only 3 to 4 nights at a time. So yeah, could have been a little better if the gym showers were open, but yeah, we've made it work so far.
We made it work, yeah. So I'm really excited that, like Jared said, we kind of will have some hotel, Airbnb, and staying with friends interspersed there, because it'll definitely be new to us to be kind of camping for this long of a period. I mean, we did live in an RV for a while, but to me, an RV is just an apartment on wheels. Like, you still have a kitchen, you still have a bathroom, you still have running water, all that stuff. The van is a whole different ball game.
It is.
But it's been good so far. As far as other things with traveling with COVID, pretty much everywhere we've been through is requiring masks, and people seem to be complying for the most part. There are some places where people aren't wearing masks, but we're always trying to be respectful, wear our masks anytime we're inside, and even on the trails, especially at the national parks, they want you to wear the masks in the more crowded places. So we have actual masks, and then we have kind of the neck, I don't know what you call them, but the little like neck face mask. So it's really convenient when you can just kind of wear this on your neck and then just pull it up over your face when you're going to be passing people on the trail and that sort of thing. And most people seem to be doing that when it's really crowded. And then what else as far as traveling during COVID? Oh, I know bathroom breaks are a big thing that a lot of people wonder about. Most places, you can still find bathrooms just about as frequently as you normally can at gas stations. That's always been hit or miss, like whether or not gas stations let you use their public restrooms or not. It's about the same, and then as long as whichever state you're in has indoor dining open, even at limited capacity, most of the time the bathrooms are open, like at a McDonald's or that sort of thing. Yeah,
it hasn't been too hard, and we have driven a ton so far. So from Virginia up to where we are now, I think we've driven over 1,250 miles, and 1,000 of that was in the first 2 days. So yeah, bathroom stops along the way. We found places. It really wasn't that difficult. Yesterday we drove almost 600 miles, so that was a long day.
Yeah, I didn't realize how far it was up here to the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, it's a long way.
And then as far as sleeping in the van, it's been pretty comfortable. I'll show you guys in a little bit kind of our bed setup. It's actually been fairly comfortable. The only limitation is, one, we have to worry about whether or not it's too hot. We do have a little fan, but luckily up here in kind of the northern states, it's been pretty cool at night. It's
still pretty warm inside the van though. We don't really want to sleep with the windows open, one, because potential rain, two, because of bugs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets pretty hot. Doesn't bother Whitney that much, but I've definitely been sweating some at night.
Yeah, and then the other thing is Jared's really tall, so like 6'4", so we only had enough room for the bed platform to be like 5'10" or 5'11", so there's a few extra inches there where Jared kind of has to sleep curled up. So for the most part that's fine, like most of the night, but then he definitely has to stretch his legs out sometimes, and that gets a little cramped.
Yeah, I never realized how much I guess I stretch out at night. I didn't think I did that. I thought I just like always slept curled up. It wouldn't be a big deal, but I definitely wake up and I'm like, oh man.
So that's been interesting. Besides that, I wanted to talk just a little bit about kind of planning this type of trip, because a lot of people, we got a lot of input, and we asked for input on our trip and our route. If you guys haven't looked at our whole route, we published 2 blog posts, an original route and then a revised route on our Fifth Wheel PT blog. So at fifthwheelpt.com, there's the road trip outline. And we got a lot of input from a lot of you guys, and there's kind of like 2 camps of people. There's like a camp of people that are like, oh, you're doing too much. And these are usually the people who have done road trips like this themselves. They've traveled a lot, and they're like, you know what, you're cramming too much into a short time. You should really try to slow down so you enjoy it more and you're not so tired, and you can enjoy one place more.
Which is a good point. We knew that we were going to be, especially the days like yesterday, 600 miles almost of driving. there's only so much you can do, and you're pretty tired after that anyway. So
yeah,
that is a good point.
It's definitely a valid point. And then you get this other camp of people that see that you have a place on your itinerary, like for example, Michigan. And then they say, oh, well, why are you skipping this? And why are you skipping that? And oh my gosh, you can't miss this and you can't miss that. And then our response to that is like, well, we can't see everything in one place or else we won't have time to see the other places. So it's a little tricky to find that middle ground. And I would say if you're looking at planning your own trip like this, you just have to, you know, look at the itinerary and see what you're comfortable with. We've always kind of planned more jam-packed trips. Like people definitely said that about our Europe trips. Like, oh,
yeah,
you're putting too much in there.
Asia for sure.
And you could say that about anywhere. You know, somebody in Europe might be like, oh, you could spend a whole month in France. There's so much to see there. I can't believe you're only spending, you know, 5 days in France. And the same thing with one of the states here. They'd be like, oh, you can spend a whole month in Michigan. It's just beautiful.
Very true.
But for us, the way that we want to plan the trips is that we want to see a little bit of a lot of places, and that's worked well for us so far.
We look at these trips that we're doing right now, like 2018 in Asia, 2019 in Europe. This trip is our biggest trip around the US. We'll do more trips like this, but we look at this as kind of like scouting out places that we really like and want to go back to in the future, instead of it being like, this isn't the only time we're ever going to come to the Great Lakes, and it's probably not going to be the only time we ever go to Yellowstone or Yosemite or Glacier or any of those places. So we're just kind of getting an overview of places, seeing where we want to go back to, instead of just thinking like, okay, we'll go here for a week and then go here for a week. And it just makes sense to us. I know some people don't travel like that, but yeah, it seems like it makes more sense to us.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, you know, it's been a quick 3 days, and of course, like when we were in Traverse City yesterday and coming up through the Upper Peninsula, I was like, oh my God, I could spend a week in each of these places and not see it all. But I understand that this isn't going to be the only time we ever come here. Now that I know we really like this place, we can come back to it. Yeah. But we just got to keep moving as far as this trip goes. So if you're looking at planning your own trip, your own road trip, just, you know, take a look at your itinerary, see what works for you. You have to find out what type of traveler you are and what works for you. You know, take other people's advice, but you also sometimes have to take it with a grain of salt. And just make your own trip. So, So far so good. I mean, it definitely would be better if we had unlimited time and we could spend a lot of time in all these places, but we're hitting like 20 some states, maybe 30,
like
maybe
almost
30s.
30 national parks.
Yeah, so for what we want to do on this trip, it's planned out exactly right over our 8-week period.
Yeah.
Ideally, if we could travel for 12 weeks, we would see even more and go a little slower, but we only have about 8 weeks planned out. So.
Yeah, and we have a hard deadline too. We have a wedding back in Virginia in the beginning of October, so that is our end point. So we had to plan everything around that. Otherwise, this probably would have been a 3 or 4 month trip.
Yeah, so that's our little bit of an update from our first few days. So I'd like to do a little quick overview, kind of a tour of the van for you guys that are interested in what we did. We bought a used minivan, and a lot of people ask kind of, why did you decide on a minivan instead of like your camper?
Yeah.
And I'll let Jared take this one. He feels very passionately about this.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. Anyone that's ever owned a camper, if you think about taking it 13,000 miles, this trip is going to be somewhere between 11 and 13,000, depending on how much we cut back and do other things. We don't have it all planned out exactly yet. But if you think about taking a camper that far and trying to get it into tight spaces and driving through national parks and all that stuff, it would be miserable. You pretty much cannot take a big camper on a trip like this. If you did, I don't think you'd have much fun. In addition to that, the cost. So the camper, when we used to pull it with our truck, we had a fifth wheel camper we pulled with the truck. People were saying like, oh, you should have kept the camper. That would have been perfect for this trip. It would have cost us, just in gas, I calculated this out, we got between 6 and 8 miles per gallon. It would have cost us $5,000 or more just in diesel to go the length of this trip. Whereas this minivan has been getting 27 to 29 miles a gallon. So huge difference there. Another factor is being able to get in and out of cities. So like a camper, like, I don't know if anyone has ever pulled a fifth wheel through a city, but it is not fun. Trying to stop at stoplights, take sharp turns, people crossing the road, it's really awful.
And you can't find anywhere to park.
You can't find anywhere to park. So this minivan, I mean, we can park anywhere. It's not conspicuous. So like last night, we were in a casino parking lot that allowed overnight parking. No one knew that we were sleeping in the van because it just looks like a minivan parked there. Whereas if we're in a fifth wheel, you probably have a better chance of someone messing with you, I would say. They know someone's inside that van, that fifth wheel. So there's a lot of reasons. I think the biggest reason, even more so than cost, is just the hassle. I would be terrified of breaking down or something happening if we were pulling it that far.
Yeah. So overall, we just decided that having a smaller vehicle would be great. And, you know, last year on our road trip, we just took my car and then we just stayed at Airbnbs or hotels or with friends every night. But this year we wanted to try a little bit of kind of car camping with the van. So we figured a van was kind of a middle ground between just taking a car and taking an RV.
Yeah, and the reason for that, last year we had a lot of fun on our road trip staying in Airbnbs. But what we found is when you try to find an Airbnb that's reasonably priced, sometimes they're off the road, say off the interstate 30 minutes or something. So that means that you have an extra hour of drive time for that stop. And in addition, besides just the drive, the time that you're talking to the host, so like checking in, making sure they're going to be there, checking out the next day, all that stuff, packing up your bags, take it inside, you know, that takes a lot of time. Whereas last night we literally drove, stopped at the casino, got ready for bed in 10 minutes, went to sleep, got up and got right back in the car and drove again. It just saves a lot of time. So being able to stop right on your route, I think there's a big benefit there.
Yeah, and this is literally exactly where we wanted to be. We were at the beach, which is like 2 blocks from here, the beach on the lake, and then we ate dinner, and then we came right around the corner and parked in this campground. And then right there, I can see through the trees the lake. And then in the morning, we'll just be right here, exactly where we want to be, go right to the hikes that we want to be at. So it's really convenient to just kind of be right in where you want to be. And then hopefully some of the national parks, as we get further out west, we will be able to park in the national park itself and just wake up in the morning and be right there. So we're really excited about that.
So yeah, we felt like the minivan was the best mix of size. It's big enough for us to actually sleep in and store our stuff without so much hassle of checking in and checking out. Also additional cost of an Airbnb. It's obviously we spent $0 on lodging so far on this trip. And this minivan will be probably just my daily driver car once we get back. So yeah.
Jared's gonna have that dad van life early. We don't have any kids yet.
Yep.
So all right, well, let's do a quick tour of the van. We do have our neighbor right here, so I'll maybe wait till he gets done to go out, but I'll show you the front a little bit. Okay. Hi, Jared. Okay, so we're in the van. So I love this van. Like, I'm super excited about having this van as just an actual vehicle because there's so much place to put things. There's just so many pockets.
This is a 2016 Kia Sedona.
Oh yeah, we bought it used. I was going to talk about that. Sorry. So we bought it used. There's all kinds of storage here. I don't know if you guys are as excited about that as I am, but there's just lots and lots and lots of storage. I will get out and show you the outside of the van. Right now I'm using this right here as a little place to hang my towel so it'll dry. So I also am really excited about these doors that open up like this. I guess if you've ever owned a minivan, you might know all about doors like that, but I'm super excited about them. So here's our bed platform that we built. So it's basically just a really simple wood platform. It was super easy to build. So we put some cardboard on it just to protect from splinters and that sort of thing. We have this pink sheet over here just to cover up the bed so that we can throw our suitcases and stuff on there so that it doesn't get dirty. And then under that we have our sheets and our blankets. And then under that we have a sleeping bag. And I'm having trouble getting this open with one hand. There's a sleeping bag and there's these little camping mattresses under the sleeping bag. And then under that there is a mattress topper, foam mattress topper. So it's actually pretty thick and pretty comfy. There's plenty of room under here to store things. I've got a little extra stuff on the side, but we've got our bags under here. And then way back in there, we've got other stuff for storage.
Did you say it was a 10-inch platform?
Oh yeah, so it's 10 inches off the ground, or off the floor of the van, I guess you could say.
Which is just about perfect to put our bags and some Tupperware containers and stuff underneath.
Yeah, so the bed is really nice. And then kind of our limiting factor here is it comes up right to here. So we couldn't make it any longer than that, but at night we do move the seats forward. So we can slide the seats forward, and then that gives us a little bit extra leg room here, and then room just to put some things right there. I'll climb in and kind of show you. So we have the bed here, and then inside we made window covers. So we utilized the existing window shades here, and then we just bought this fabric. It's
blackout fabric.
Blackout fabric. It's not black in color. This just happened to be the only color they had. Ideally, it would have been black in color, but it is not see-through at all, so it blocks out the light. It's not perfect. We could have used stickies and stuff to stick it to the windows, but we were trying to avoid getting stuff all over the windows. The ones here on the doors that move, we take them down during the day so Jared can see better out the window as we're driving during the day, and then I just have them just folded up right here in the back seat pocket so we can just hook them back on. So we basically just hook them here, and then we pull the shade up and hook the shade over top of it, and the shade holds it on. So that's what worked best for us for the shades.
What about the front?
And then the front and the back, we made basically curtains because we just didn't really want to deal with having to do, again, like stickies on the front windows, the passenger and the driver windows. And in the front, we have like an actual shade that you can put up, like a sunshade. But for the sides where the sun would come in, we just use this. So we just hang this curtain here. We use these little hooks that exist already. Oops. And it blocks out most of the light, not all of it. But as you can see, if I lay in the bed here, it blocks out a good amount.
And it's not so much for light. Like, it's obviously great to not block out some of the light, but it's more just so people can't look directly in the windshield or in the side windows and see us laying in here.
Yeah, so privacy,
that was kind of weird.
Privacy and light. But yeah, it's pretty comfy overall. We both fit pretty well. And then I'll come around, I'll show you the back of the van. And then here, a little better view of just the front. Very, very comfortable. Huge fan of vans, personally, at this point. All right, so then I'll come around the back and show you. This was amazing because Jared did a ton of research on other people that do van camping and some people that even live in vans, which I think is pretty crazy. But some people do like shelving units of different sorts. Sometimes they'll build things. They'll use like a table. They'll use milk crates. We did a combination of those things. So we already had one of these multi-stackable units. As you can see, another shelf can go here. We don't have the other shelf on here because it would hit the door when the door closes, but I am using this one little post as a place to hang trash. But it's got 2 shelves in here. So we've got plenty of room to put little things, towels and hats, snacks and drinks, little extra things in here like masks, bread, sunscreen, all the wipes, yeah, sunscreen, bug spray, little things I need to get to pretty often. As you can see, we had our hiking bags just kind of sitting here. These are my water shoes from earlier. And then we have our water cooler. This, I cannot stress enough how essential this water cooler has been, because at first I thought maybe we would just use like gallons of water, but it has been so convenient to have this jug here because you can fill it up from the spigot, you know, right at the bottom there, and then you always have water, so you're not worried about, oh, do we have to stop and get water, because we drink a lot of water throughout the day. I mean, we're doing a lot of hiking, so we kind of have our bags stuck here, and then Jared will take them and I'll show you kind of underneath the bags. We definitely brought probably more stuff than we should have because I didn't anticipate having to put anything here. This has our laptops and stuff in it. We have shoes in here because they're kind of dirty. Put them in this bag. And then down here we've got additional storage, some paper towels and things like that. And then down here we have a little soft-sided cooler that we mostly just have snacks in. We're not really planning on cooking while we're camping. We're mostly just eating protein bars, eating out. We have like bananas, peanut butter sandwiches, that kind of stuff. We're not really planning on camping, so we didn't actually bring like a real cooler to keep stuff cold. We just kind of have that soft-sided cooler so our protein bars don't completely melt when they're out here in the hot car all day. So that's kind of that side. And then down here we used a milk crate to support this, and then that gives us just a little additional storage. We have like a little tool bag and some towels and stuff down there, some umbrellas, and then we basically just used bungee cords and zip ties to secure everything in so it won't move. So it's pretty secure back there. It doesn't really slide.
This moves a little bit, but not enough that it's any issue.
Yeah. The only thing I wish we had some kind of little divider that would divide kind of our bed from here, kind of like a headboard. But the way that we tied the zip ties and the bungees and stuff, there was really no easy way to slide stuff down in there. And by the time we have like pretty thick pillows, you don't really hit your head on this stuff. So it's not that big of a deal. And this stuff, it does slide around a little bit, but sometimes we'll just kind of throw it down here, you know, as needed. So that's the back of the van. And then I'll show you Jared's side of the van. So we're just kind of hanging up our towels right now to dry. And then of course he's got his storage side over here, plenty of storage. Inside we also use these little lights to be able to have reading lights at night. And then we have flashlights in here and a couple other things.
Oh, these lights too.
Oh yeah, we have these little push lights. So we've got plenty of lights in there at night, so that way we don't have to use the actual lights of the car, because we don't leave the car running, obviously. So that is pretty much it as far as our van tour goes. Let's turn around this way. So thank you guys for joining us for this video. We'll try to get this uploaded soon. Today is Sunday. Which, here, you want to hold this, Sister Tyler? Today's Sunday, which is of course the day we normally do our videos, but it might not get uploaded until later. So.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, please send us a message if you have any questions, and we will see you later. Let me bring this closer in case you can't hear. So we'll see you later, and I don't know when for sure we're going to be able to do our consistent weekly videos, but we'll try to do them hopefully once a week, sometime during the week if we can, even if we have to do it this way and upload it later.
Yep. All right.
So,
see you guys later.
Bye.